Here comes Deaxz and EasyQuix.
Either
Coming
that or
at
you're
you
learning
fast with a podcast. Break it down, get it in your ears now fast. Quix, Deaxz, cast, pods.
Welcome back to Two in the Basement, a Dead by Daylight podcast. As always, this is Deaxz, and with me this week I have my friend and fellow content creator, FanelMark, to talk about his journey on Twitch and the military, his experience with Dead by Daylight lately, and to play a fun new game with me at the end of our chat. The audio for this one is a bit scuffed sometimes, as there were some issues, but I do hope that it did turn out okay. There is also no Shrine review at the end for this one, as the podcast released just before the reset. Fanel, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm FanelMark, been streaming on Twitch for a while. Primarily play Dead by Daylight, but do mix it up with some other things. And yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be a part of it.
It's really good to have you, Fanel. I think you were actually the first guest that I ever tried to tee up on the podcast way back in April when we first started. And it's taken us till November, but we've made it there finally. So if nothing, we're persistent. And thank you so much again. I think you suggested this like a week ago or something. Hey, remember how you wanted to chat to me? I'm free now, so let's do it. So thanks for doing that. So yeah, I guess the first thing I'll ask you, we talked about this off stream, but FanelMark is your streaming name or your what you go by on Twitch. How did that come about?
Well, it's a good story, I guess. So pretty much, firstly, Mark is just my middle name. That's it. That's how creative I am. And Fanel just comes from Nathaniel. So Nathaniel's my first name. Pretty unique. Don't see many of them. Growing up, got two younger brothers. They couldn't say TH, so it was Nathaniel. Yeah, and from there it was just shortened to Fanel since about, I guess, like 3 or 4. All through school, all the teachers called me Fanel. My parents still call me Fanel. Most of my friends. It pretty much changed when I joined the army. That was it.
I love that it extended to like your teachers, like even calling you Fanel, because like it's one thing. So my middle name is Henry, and I always got called at home, like throughout my early teenage years and going forward. I always got called Henry by my parents. I never got called Zach, and then now it's my teachers at school would call me Zach, but I couldn't imagine them calling me Henry.
No, it's just I don't know.
Cool.
That's just it. Like because I had some pretty good teachers.
Nathaniel was already unique, but then calling you Fanel as well, like that's just I've never. Is that even is that a name?
I don't know. I don't
never
know.
met a person called Fanel.
It's pretty I'm almost guaranteed this name every time I play a new game or I need to put a new name into something.
That's a good thing though, isn't it?
Yeah,
you never miss out on it.
I don't have to put numbers
all the time, don't they?
Yes, yeah. I'm not really sure why. I don't know really where it come from. I guess they just assume that it's my name.
I think because Fanel's not like we don't think of Fanel as a name.
True.
So like, okay, so they've got Fanel as like the start, and then Mark must be the name.
Yeah, it doesn't but it did bother me like ages ago, but it just it doesn't bother me now.
It's part of who you are now.
Yeah, because it's quite a lot of people that do it. And
I mean, it is part of your it is like you are FanelMark, like in the OC community and beyond. Like the name FanelMark is like it's just known. Like there's no other name out there like it. So very unique to you, which is really awesome.
Agreed.
I mean, that's as a name should be. It should be. You should embody your own name. So I think it's really cool. But yeah, I've realized I've known you for a while, and I never knew that. So I thought it would be good to ask.
Good starting point.
The story behind it. I guess we can also start at the beginning with kind of like your streaming journey and how you aim to start like creating content online. Do you want to introduce us into how you started getting into that side of the thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always kind of gamed, obviously growing up. Started I think Super Nintendo, Atari era. But pretty much favorite game, Final Fantasy VII, easy by far.
Okay, nice. Never played Final Fantasies before, but
I'm a huge fan. Yeah. Pretty much when I started streaming, so I was gaming through my military time, through my army time, sort of whenever I got the down chance. And then I got a medical discharge, and I picked it up a couple of months after that. Because, like, I was already playing games at the time. You know, built my first PC, was already playing games, and just sort of started there, yeah. And then I started in Final Fantasy 14, the MMO. That's where I first started streaming and sort of gone from there.
How did you find like what kind of community or what kind of, I guess, people are around the streaming that game? Like, did you
really good people? Like, yeah, really good people in OCE. Really good, just really good community in the game. Compared to, I never really experienced, because like I played WoW for a good couple of years as well. And I would say there's a bit more toxicity in WoW. Final Fantasy, I mean, you can't get along with everyone. There's obviously a few bad eggs, but you never really seen it. It might be different now because the game's kind of blown up recently.
Yep.
But yeah, as far as like OCE and like the other streamers that I knew and the people that I played the game with, there was never any real issues in terms of...
That's really cool to hear. It's very rare to, like, I guess, kind of have a community that, obviously, as you said, every community has some bad eggs in there, and some people think they're the ones, or other people think they're not the bad eggs, but, it is what it is. But, I guess, when was that? Like, how long have you been streaming for?
I think that would have been end of 2018.
Okay, cool. So you've got a lot of, like, decent amount of experience.
Yeah, so I've been streaming for what? Like, I'll say 3 years now. Wasn't very consistent at the start, not like sort of I am now. Just sort of picked it up as something to do. Obviously, losing your job. What was my career? Bit, lost afterwards. So I was doing it at the time where I sort of figured what the next step was. Look, let's be real. I'm not exactly super consistent these days, but I got a different approach to taking it like a bit more full time.
Yeah, and look, you definitely, like, I will say from a personal experience, because I am actually a fan and like a viewer and like I'm a fan of your stream, so like you are a lot more consistent than you probably give yourself credit for. But I can definitely understand that when you want to be at a certain, like, not level, but like when you want to have a certain consistency and you might not be hitting that, like, personally for yourself, then obviously it doesn't feel like you're consistent.
Yeah.
And I definitely can identify with that. So
I think I probably am a bit harsh on myself, I guess. I mean, I think everyone is, right? You're your own worst enemy. But yeah, I've probably got high expectations for myself. So when I don't,
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, when I don't hit them, it's frustrating.
Yeah, of course. And I'll just say, like, obviously, you mentioned that you're a veteran, so served in the military. Obviously, we thank anyone who, and yourself, that is a part of the military service and like serving any type of military for our country or another country. So I appreciate you, and we appreciate you for that.
Thanks, mate.
Because it's definitely something that I thought about when I was younger, and I have a lot of respect for people that do that, because it was something that I could never see myself kind of going down the line of. So much respect to you for that, man.
Appreciate it. It's much like any other job. Ups and downs. Experiences may vary and stuff like that. I would probably be still doing it if it wasn't for my injuries. It was something that I quite enjoyed.
Yep. Okay.
Good career, good money. You're not you're pretty well paid. I think the Australian Army's top 3 last I checked in terms of pay. I think Canada and the Brits a bit better. Yeah. But like, you're pretty well looked after. Your medical's covered. You can get cheaper housing if you go through defense housing. Exercise, like, you've got to keep your fitness standards. You're always with your mates.
I was gonna say a little bit like, kind of like obviously the military is nothing like gaming, but you know, kind of like gaming, you have your mates, like you said. You make like literally, you know, brothers for life, and you make friends with these people. And you're obviously, I'm lucky to know you and like Rye, your best mate. And you know, getting to not only now have, you know, met those people through the military, but you know, game with them like regularly, and like they're a part of your life. So that's something that I guess, you know, a lot of jobs and stuff have in common, but for sure that camaraderie, like feeling of banding together, because obviously a lot of the time in gaming, you know, you're a part of a team and you're a part of you know,
you have your core group of friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, and as I said, no way am I like comparing the military to gaming, but it's that same kind of, you got that same kind of value with your mates. You can make really special friends doing anything in life, but especially those kind of things where you share like shared experiences. Kind of from what you know would say, you share like these both good and bad, up and down with people in both of those worlds. So I guess, how did you go like with that?
Like the transition,
just transition from. You don't have to go in depth.
No, I'm pretty happy to talk about it. I'm pretty open. If I don't want to talk about it, I just say I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect.
Yeah, so I guess like pretty lost. So I did like a little over 10 years. I think it was close to 10 and a half years, which is a good portion of pretty much my entire adult life. So I think I was 27 when I got out, or 28. Okay. And I joined fresh 18. So, and it's not just a job. It's like your career. It's literally everything. So you're always there. It's like, it's your identity. It's not just it's not as simple as rocking up. So it's kind of like you've lost your identity. You've lost you lose a lot of things. And unfortunately, once you kind of leave the military, you're not very well looked after. There's a lot of services and stuff that are supposed to help you that they're not very good at what they do. So you're kind of like thrown out on your own. So for a lot of people, that can be a shock, because you got to think like 10 years. Like, how much has society and stuff changed in a 10-year period? Like heaps. You know, acclimatizing back into what we call the real world. Things like that. So yeah, I guess like a bit of a struggle with that. And yeah, like I said, you lose your identity. So trying, you know, you got to find that again. I went a bit of a different route. I changed. So most people couldn't, you know, grow a big beard. They grow their hair out, because all that kind of stuff is restricted for us, because you've got to look a certain way. You got to be clean cut. It's all about appearance. I can't grow a beard, so I got dreads.
E-dreads.
Yeah. You know, I got quite a lot of piercings now. I've got over
tattoos and stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say I got over 200 hours of tattoos. So yeah, just going through a process of finding you, finding yourself, and sort of what you're about.
That's I never even considered that at all. So that's really cool for you to share with me and everyone, because I never realized, like, obviously, you know, people going into the military, there, it's not just, as you said, it's not just a job, it's a career, it's a lifestyle, it's everything into one. But yeah, I hadn't really considered that whole, you know, you become a different person, like you have a different identity essentially. So, you know, I know that people definitely struggle when they come out of the military, and they do feel alone, and, you know, getting back into, as you said, the real world. But yeah, it's awesome that you have been able to find stuff and really, I guess, find yourself again, or almost like rebuild yourself, but for who you want to be.
Yeah. Like, still going through the process, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I can't work with my injuries, so the next step for me is rehabilitation into, you know, re-entering the workforce.
In some capacity,
but
in some form.
Yeah, in saying that, I genuinely have no idea what I want to do. So And that's like another reason why I sort of stuck to streaming was
Yeah.
it's like a grounding, I guess. Like it's something that I can look forward to, put energy into, and you're not absent-minded and thinking about everything else.
So
yeah,
it's always there. You've always got it. You've got people there. You know for yourself that like you, as you said, consistency. You've got to like you can almost structure your life around knowing that you have that like consistently there. So obviously that's really important when you are used to like a military life with,
because like routine's really easy for me.
Routine,
just
exactly.
setting up a routine
that.
is easy. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't struggle with anything like that.
So I guess the next question to ask, why Dead by Daylight? Why the move to that game when you?
So honestly, my brother-in-law suggested to me. So he knows like I'm a big horror fan. I watch like a lot of the horror movies. Always, I love being jump scared. I love the adrenaline from it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I don't know. Just always loved that kind of stuff.
Yep.
He was playing it at the time, and he suggested it. I was kind of like I'd been playing Final Fantasy for a while.
Yep.
And was just getting probably burnt out. I was just falling out of love with the game. It just wasn't as captivating as it once was. Obviously with MMOs, it's a big content drought in between raids. Like I'm a raider. I like taking raids competitively. It's like where I put, my competitive energy. I like being a top percentile in like DPS and stuff like that. But yeah, I just stopped enjoying it, the game. And he's like, oh, I play this, check it out. And then, I bought it and here we are. I love it.
What did you start with when you got it? Like when you
Survivor. Start Survivor. I think I started on like Meg or Nia. So yeah, I met a few people through playing the game, through streaming it. They gave me hints and tips and all that. And yeah, I went from there. I was predominantly a Survivor main for quite a while. Like I'd play Killer occasionally, but nowhere near as what I do now.
Yeah, because now you've transitioned to, I'd say, playing probably more Killer. Like,
these days, yeah,
you're playing more Killer than Survivor.
Yeah, I'd say currently I play more Killer than Survivor. I enjoy Killer more.
Yeah. And you've become a big fan of Billy as well.
Yeah, big fan. I've always had a sort of on and off again love affair with Billy.
Yeah.
I mean, as anyone who plays him, he can be quite frustrating. There's a lot going against Billy these days. Compared to any other killer. Like there's definitely other killers that do what he does but better. But it's just not the same satisfaction.
Not the same thrill. You get that thrill out of it by hitting some nice flicks and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not alone. The OC community is very well known, as obviously you and I both know, for their Billy players and for they're good Billy players, honestly.
Yes, we do have quite a lot.
Some cracked Billy mains out there. So, I guess if you can remember, like, do you know what attracted you to Billy in the start, or
no? So I played like pre overheat and back, when Insta Saw and all that was a thing. I'm not sure. I think I didn't, I would go against them and just seeing them flicking that, and I was just like, holy crap, that's insane. I think for me, it just seemed like such a challenge to learn in comparison to almost any other killer. Like this was pre-Blight, right? So this is so I guess skill-wise, you'd go
skill-based killers.
You'd go Nurse or Huntress, something like that. But it's like, you hit some nice cross maps, or you can finish a game in 10 seconds as a nurse. It just it didn't hit the same as because I played a bit of Bubba. So Bubba was always suggested because of barbecue and chili.
Of course.
Played a little bit of Trapper. Like I played a few. I actually really enjoyed Legion. Legion was like the first killer that I genuinely mained.
I love that because I used to play so much Legion as well when I first started playing killer. For some reason, I just loved how fast and like how easy it was to just move around the map. Because I always felt slow whenever I played
any other killer.
Killers.
Yeah.
Even though he was weak, in quotations, against good people, he was still just one of those ones that it was fun to jump over pallets as a killer. It was fun to you felt like, people wouldn't even realize you were there sometimes because you look like a survivor.
You look like a survivor.
Yeah. So that's cool. I love that because Legion gets not a lot of love.
No.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, if you ask me why I started playing Wraith and wanted to main Wraith, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you anyway. Just again, probably part of the reason because he was a speedy boy and he moves around the map faster than other people, so it makes it easier to catch up with those good survivors that are just running you silly. And Billy has that same kind of thing. You've got really good movement around the map, and then you get yourself into those little.
I think it's the mind games as well. I find like he's got very unique mind games required for chainsaws compared to other killers.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you can juke a chainsaw up close and stuff if you're good enough. And yeah, I don't know. I think it was honestly just like it took, to me at the time, it was like it took so much skill to, because there was only a handful of like good flick billies, right? There was a lot of Billy players, but there was no one playing him, or like, a small portion of people playing him to that level. And I like a challenge, like learning, a skill base, because it's just anyone can sort of M1 and whatnot.
You can learn those basic. You can learn the basic. Yeah,
like stuff. Basic killer mind games and stuff like that. It's about I just wanted something different. But yeah, getting phantom chainsaws and random hitboxes, and you've got overheat, and then I mean he's definitely frustrating to play.
Random branches.
Oh, Macmillan, remove it, get it out of there. I hate it.
If you're playing Billy, you're not allowed to have Macmillan.
That's it's just the trees, man. Imagine a chainsaw that can't cut down trees. Nah.
Yeah, exactly. The worst kind of chainsaw. But no, I think it's cool that you have liked a killer for a long time, and I've obviously I watched you had your first Billy video that you brought out, like a little montage with flicks and stuff, and that was really cool, and that was kind of like you making a little I guess foray into YouTube a little bit with that kind of stuff. Is that something that you content creation? Is it just streaming, or is it? Do you like the idea of YouTube and stuff?
I like the idea of YouTube. So I learned to edit from scratch. I was just watching YouTube tutorials. Something new to learn. Something also, I feel like if you want to take streaming seriously, Twitch alone is not enough these days. I think that the platform is so oversaturated, and then obviously very little discoverability compared to other platforms. So like if you use TikTok or YouTube or any of them like that, your content's there the entire time, and it gets recommended, right? If you use the right tags and all, the right stuff, which is obviously a learning curve, a learning thing. Whereas on Twitch, your VOD's there for what, 2 weeks? And you know what I mean? And it's the discoverability on Twitch,
and it's not popping up no one's loading up the homepage and hey, come and watch FanelMark's VOD from last week. Whereas when you load up the YouTube homepage, it's recommended that you might like this. You've been watching a lot of Billy videos. Here's a Billy montage.
And it's just DBD. Because how many times you've been on YouTube and you just find yourself, 6 videos deep on somewhere completely different to where you started?
I'm going to tell you right now, in the last year, I watch so many of the recommended videos in my YouTube now. I don't even have to click on my subscription box anymore. YouTube is that on point with recommending the videos that I want to watch. Not even the video I want to watch, the time of day that I go on YouTube. If I go on YouTube at night, it knows that I want a longer video because I'm probably going to be eating dinner or something like that. And so it'll recommend me a video that goes for 30 minutes. But if it's the morning, it'll recommend me a 5-minute video because I will probably chop and change through a few different videos when I wake up and watch a bunch of videos. It's actually crazy how advanced the algorithm and the system is with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the YouTube's spot on with the algorithms, man. They do really well with it.
Yeah, and I guess it's all about learning, learning, and you've mentioned like learning, obviously with the killer, and learning and growing with editing and stuff. So obviously, to me, it sounds like that learning is like a huge part of your journey. Not only, I guess, probably in streaming, but just in your life anyway. Is that something that like you? Because for me, I love learning new things, and I love like pushing myself that little bit more, and like I'll do something well, and then I think, how can I do it better, or how can I learn something else, that makes that better, or whatever it might be. So is learning something where like it's really important to you to just
Yeah,
keep learning
definitely,
new
definitely.
things?
I kind of like to challenge myself and keep moving and stuff like that. It just like it's like the challenge of learning something new, especially from scratch. So like I've gamed for such a long time, but I've never done editing or anything like that. So it's like a whole new field for me.
Yep.
And so I watched like a lot of other Billy montages. I found a lot were very similar. I wanted to sort of do something a little bit different. I actually based mine off old school like Call of Duty montages where the gunshot would line up with the beat of the music.
Yeah.
So like early, I guess early 2000s.
Like
yeah.
With the sniping and like syncing up the shots and everything.
Yeah. So and like obviously I'm a heavy metal or a rock fan. So that's sort of what I went with, and yeah, it was just and that was like a really good a really good process. Learning slow mo and changing things and lining up and everything. So it took me a while to sort of get it to where I personally wanted to. Yeah, really good. I definitely recommend it. I've had a lot of success with like YouTube Shorts as well. Like some pop off, some don't. But I think that if you're not using TikTok, Shorts, Instagram, whatever it is, I think you're selling yourself short these days as a content creator.
Yeah, 1000%. It's something that literally, I think every single content creator I've had on the podcast has said that exact same thing at one time or another. And I think it's whenever people ask for what's that one piece of advice, I think that's honestly now that's just the one piece of advice that everyone should always go by. Just having a broadening your content to not just being in one place. I was talking with Rye last night when we were playing Halo, and he was saying, when he would get off Twitch, like you said, that's it. There's nothing there anymore. But when you get off YouTube, if you're streaming on YouTube or whatever it might be, you've got a back catalog of videos there, thoughts, or just even one video there for someone to jump in. I had I think it was in that Ludwig video where he was talking about how to be a good streamer and everything. He basically said that having that back catalog is really important, because what if you get raided, or you find yourself with 1,000 extra viewers and you shit the bed, like you freak, you panic, and you because you never had that many people watching, you kind of panic, and you don't do the best job of streaming and entertaining as best as you think. Some people still might like you and be like, oh well, I'll go and check out their YouTube, and if you've got nothing there, then that's it. Like, you potentially lose a person. Videos they can go back and watch. They'll be like, oh, okay, so they would just they had an off day, or they panicked because of all the people.
Because you're human as well.
Exactly, you're not going to be perfect. I guess the other thing, it all kind of like mushes into one, but with the veteran stuff, obviously Twitch added a bunch of new tags in the last 3 months or something.
Yeah, last couple of months.
They added a veteran tag now, so you can actually, if you don't know what tags are, if anyone that's listening, you can basically enter a tag, so veteran or like team play or competition or whatever it might be, and you can find like Twitch streams that are based on that kind of content. So it's just creating
like a
guess, more
YouTube search.
visibility yeah, exactly. So I wanted to ask both with that coming into Twitch and potentially before, like, do you, is there any, because obviously you're very open with the fact that you're a veteran and like you talk about it on stream and like you talk about your experience. Like, do you find that you've ever been treated differently because of it? I mean, whether it's good or bad. Like, is it something that sticks out to you, or is it just like,
so I guess one of the downsides to it is you get a bit of the hate raid stuff that obviously a lot of other creators are getting. The veterans get a little bit of it. Obviously nowhere near as much as other people, but that doesn't take away from it.
Exactly, yeah.
It's kind of hard. So I haven't really come across anyone who's been like, oh, hey man, I found you because I searched the veteran tag, right?
Yep.
So it might just be that this tag isn't a very search tag or anything like that. But yeah, with the veteran hate raid stuff, that's pretty much it. My experience with the veteran tag is it's just used to abuse people that use
Target.
it. Like just target them, and which is, you know, I'm fine at the moment, but let's say that I wasn't, like I had an off day or something. Is that enough to push someone over the edge? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And stuff like that, because obviously mental health's pretty big for veterans and whatnot. And not everyone's comfortable talking about what they've experienced or what they're going through, you know, because everyone deals with it in different ways.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the reasons that I like to, well, you know, I ask about it and I like to talk about it, is because, you know, if there are people that potentially listen or come across not only the stuff that we talk about, but even on, you know, in other mediums, and it helps potentially people feel less alone when they hear other people, you know, actually talking about it, or making, like, basically creating a little bit more awareness around it. So, I mean, before the tag, was it ever something that was mentioned, or like you found
so I wouldn't say they treat me different. People ask questions. Because Australia is a little bit different compared to America. Like, America kind of puts their military on a pedestal compared to Australia. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that their government looks after their military a lot better. Like, they've still got issues. Don't get me wrong. I've got veteran friends who are Americans that, you know, will tell you how bad their system is. So, you know, no system's perfect. But compared to it, like, Australia has 2 days. Anzac Day, Remembrance Day. That's it. Like, they don't give a fuck about you outside of that. And that's the honest truth. And to be honest, those days are just used as, like Anzac Day is a public holiday. It's an excuse to get drunk. That's it. That's kind of how veterans are treated in Australia. But because it's like, it's kind of, no one knows anything about it in terms of the military. Like, nobody knows.
That's
because it's not put anywhere. We don't talk about anything. It's not in the media. The only time it's in the media is if something bad happens, because negativity sells.
It's not really something like you learn about at school either. Like, you don't like learn about, I mean, you probably touch on Anzac Day, but like, you don't really learn about, you know, the Australian history of Australian military. Like, you learn obviously a lot about American history and that kind of stuff. So it's, I for sure am one of those people that wouldn't know too much about the Australian military, which is obviously why I'm happy that I get to talk to you about it, because you know it firsthand. So obviously it's, you know, it's really shit to hear that that's your experience.
It's kind of just the norm. Like, it becomes it just becomes the norm. So we're kind of taught the whole adapt and overcome sort of thing. So you're in a scenario, you just do the best that you can in said scenario. Like, it's kind of like a good part of our training. So you'll probably find a lot of veterans are just pretty blasé about it. Like, it's to be expected sort of thing.
It's just
because it's such a common response, I guess. Because like I touched on earlier, is once you leave the military, that's it. Like, all ties are cut. There's very little help and stuff like that. So I had to get my injuries recognized. So I got injured at work did all my rehab through work. I then had to go through the quite difficult and lengthy process to prove to them that they had hurt me and that I could no longer do my job because of my injuries. When it's all documented there, it's all there, all right. And it took me 8 months. It took me 8 months to get them to be like, "Oh yeah, we broke you." Yeah. But see,
they were the ones essentially helping you.
And there's a big mentality with it. Whereas, like, if you can't do 100% of your job, you're like frowned upon. You get shunned, you cast aside, and you sort of, it's essentially like bastardization, right? So that's like a whole nother, that's like a whole nother thing. So yeah, you experienced that. I guess I say lucky, but it's probably not the right word. I was lucky enough that I did that while I was still in the military. I know a lot of people who are outside, you don't get any of the help. Like, so I had, advocates or people that would help, get all my paperwork and stuff together. But see, I was still at work, so I could just go to the medical center and get my paperwork. You can't do that on the outside. So like all these people that get kicked out, like not kicked out, like medically discharged, it's like exponentially harder because you don't have access to those resources. And like I was saying, there's very few people that like genuinely help you. You'll see a lot of these pop up. People are like, "Oh, we help veterans and all this shit." It's honestly crap because all they doing is getting kickbacks from the government and stuff for assisting you. So they don't actually care about helping you.
They just want that kickback.
They want that kickback because the kickback's quite good.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean? So like all this, and then like I was saying earlier, you've lost everything. You've lost your identity. So you're going through like all this stuff at once, which can be super overwhelming for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, and then you're trying to get together all this stuff to prove, of why, you can't work and all of that. So, yeah, I can't even begin to imagine just the stress of it. So, but everyone goes through their own things differently, as you said. So, you've been able to adapt and do the things necessary for you to continue moving forward. Is there anything, I guess, because obviously being in the online world, it's all anonymous, it's very easy to there is, most people water off a duck's back. Things just slide off them and it doesn't really affect them. But is there stuff that you learned, I guess, being so regimented and routine and everything, that has helped with like online interaction itself? Or is that just, you think down to just being part of being a good person, being basically just a decent human anyway?
A bit of both. Like I like to think I'm pretty sociable, I'm pretty approachable. And like I can chat about almost anything with anyone, sort of thing. Like that doesn't really I'm pretty open with that, like everything I've gone through, and I'm open for other people to vent to me if they want to vent to a third party and stuff like that. If I'm not at the time, I just tell them this isn't a good time for me, you're
definitely very honest and open.
I'm not anything, what's the word? It's like, I'm not anything special. I'm no different to anyone else. I've just gone through different life experiences. I've had a few people be like same sort of thing. I can't imagine what you've gone through and all that. And they try to be like, "Oh, but I haven't done anything. I've just, worked a casual job." And I was like, yeah, but that's like, you're at just different stages in your life. You shouldn't be trying to compare yourself to someone else's experiences.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I don't want you to think that like I'm no way am I like trying to put you on a like some sort of pedestal or as a show show pony or anything like that. Like this is honestly just as much as this is actually like as I guess I don't know if it's bad to say, but it's interesting to me because, and I'm sure it's interesting to other people as well, because this is a lot of the stuff we don't ever hear about because, as you said, it's not talked about in the media. It's not talked about unless you know someone that's going to tell you this. You're not gonna ever really know about it. So it's not about going it off. It's more about the fact that if we can learn more about it, we can all grow together. And I don't know if there's another veteran out there that's potentially listens to the podcast and is feeling like they can't do it, they can't make it next week or something, and then they're hearing someone who is positive and who's getting through this stuff, and it might just help those people. So I'm all about just giving that chance to. There might be no one, but if there is, like, why not give a chance for someone to have a more positive experience?
Yeah, 100%. Because like I'm open about my injuries. I'm open about my mental health. I'm open what I've done and been through. And I'm open about, like, I've had a few people ask me, what's military life like? What's this? And I give it, straight. I tell them the positives. I tell them the negatives. There's no need to sort of sugarcoat it. It's like I said earlier. It's the same as any other job. There's ups and downs. You enjoy it and you play it until the negatives outweigh the positives, and then you make a change.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we can we can relate some stuff more back to the Dead by Daylight itself. But you and I were talking a little bit before we started recording about I was just straight up basically telling you that I'm in a weird place with Dead by Daylight at the moment, and I think you can probably say the same. Like, you haven't been playing as much on stream. I haven't been playing as much on stream. It's Dead by Daylight just seems to be in a weird place at the moment.
Agreed.
Burnout is definitely a thing that I didn't think that would ever happen to me. Not necessarily streaming burnout, but like actually I thought streaming burnout would hit me before
burnout of the game.
Would hit me, to be honest, but I still love streaming just as much. It's just the Dead by Daylight side of things that's really, really changed ever since I know everyone talks about it, but ever since the MMR came out, it's not even, I don't actually think it is partly the MMR, but it's actually the mentality around the MMR that also changed the game as well. So it's not necessarily, it's like a consequence and like reaction type thing to that. It's not exactly the thing that's happened, but it's the reaction to the thing that's happened, if that makes any sense at all. So I mean, I guess you've been dealing with it obviously you just finished your first ever Dark Souls game.
Yeah, I just finished my blind playthrough of Dark Souls.
And so you've been playing through also Zero Death Run, wasn't it? I thought.
No, mine was just a blind playthrough, and I died 626 times. So I don't think I'm
under 1,000. So
I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but that's what I ended up with.
I've never finished a Dark Souls game before, so you're better than me in that regard. But yeah, I guess one thing Kyle and I talked on the previous podcast about like the overuse of toxicity and that kind of thing. So I don't really want to like steer towards that. This is more just towards I guess dealing with a mental and potentially like physical burnout from the game itself. So for me, it's just the community is a small part of the reason why the burnout occurs. Not my community, just the DBD community.
DBD community in general. Yep.
It's not even the OCE. Like, it's not even like it's targeted down to like the OCE community. It's the whole DBD. Twitter is, every game has their
just sort of
Twitter
where wherever you turn, there's something going on.
Yeah, there's something there. So, I guess I kind of wanted to talk about potentially. I know you have a lot of thoughts on the game itself, but also you are a big fan and a big pusher of play what you enjoy, and like don't basically get taken hostage by that game. Just play what you're enjoying. So I guess how have you dealt with
I mean, how much time you got? I got a lot of time to talk about TPT. I talk a lot. I ran a lot.
But yeah, so honestly, we've got extra time, so we can.
I mean, I think when I started doing a bit more variety was when I think this is a while ago, like probably over a year ago. I I think 2 or 3 like genuine bad days of DBD where it was just like hard tunneling and whatnot. Like the games just weren't enjoyable, and I was just like, I started to realize, and I was seeing people take pretty big regular breaks. So like people would take a 2 or 3 month break quite regularly from DBD, and I just sort of started to realize that actual burnout on DBD seemed to be quite high.
Yeah, it was more common, I guess. than we thought.
Plus, I also felt like I had this feeling of missing out essentially on other games. I was watching new games be released and my friends play them, and I was just playing DBD on repeat every day, doing the same thing essentially. Because as much as I love DBD, core gameplay is looping. You know what I mean? So it all comes down to that. So that's what
looping or killing, depending on what side you're on.
So yeah, I just changed from that. I still enjoy DBD. So going back to sort of what you touched on with the whole, play what you find fun. It's just that it doesn't matter what you do in Dead by Daylight. There's always someone who's going to say something or take offense to how you play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always pushed, and I've pushed for like pretty much the entire time that I've played or, figured out what I was doing in DBD. I've pushed play the game how you want. Because you're always going to have people that just complain. Doesn't matter what you do. Perks, no perks, add-ons, this, that, the other. Because it's like, why should your fun be dictated by someone else? So DBD is a bit weird in terms of that, because it is a 4v1. Survivors, you're going to have bully games. You're going to have people that are genuinely better at the game at you and just bully the shit out of you. I think that comes with it. Just change your approach to how you play the game. But in saying that, if you play a particular way, expect some sort of kickback from it. If you speedrun 4Ks, you're slugging, you're camping, all that kind of stuff, expect someone to say something. Just, you can either engage with it and get nowhere. Because like what I find is, people will say things in the heat, right? So you've just been slugged, you've just lost it. So trying to convince someone in endgame chat is never going to work. They're never going to change what they do or anything like that, because everyone's like peaked, everyone's heated, adrenaline, all this kind of stuff, right?
And
that's not the time.
That's their fun. Like, maybe that's their fun. So like you're trying to tell them you're having fun the wrong way, essentially.
And a big thing for that is like Billy, right? So Billy cops a lot of shit for M1ing, which I think is okay. But there's always going to be circumstances where you need to M1, right? I love that it's a meme, you call them a million, all this stuff. But I've genuinely had people say, use your chainsaw too much, you should try M1ing. So you're never going to be able to satisfy the player base that you're going against. So yeah, it's just like what's fun for me might not be fun for the other person. But DBD's not a free-to-play game. That's another thing. So someone's gone out of their way. I know
now on Epic Games.
Well, only for the week, right?
Yeah,
it's only
for
the
1
week.
But...
Yeah, but you know what I mean. So like you've paid. I think it's close to 30 Australian dollars. I know that you can get most of the killers and that just by playing the game.
But with the in-game currency.
Yeah. So, but if you don't want to do that, I think DVD's close to 150 Australian dollars. Because they've released packs. Did you know this? They've released killer and survivor packs, and it's from Hag to Trickstar, recently. I think. Yeah,
I saw it recently. It was like $80 for like a killer pack, and like $80 for like a survivor pack.
Yeah. I think they're on sale. They're on like $50 or $60 now. But do you know what I mean? So like that's more than any AAA game. Most AAA games are about $100. So you've paid for a game.
That's just for extra content. Like
that's
not. You've obviously already paid for the base game, like you're about to say.
So you've paid for a game. I 100% play it however you want. But just always expect that there's going to be some idiot somewhere who just complains about you and how you play the game. Because there is a good portion of the community who doesn't understand how the game plays. And what I mean by that is they'll get hooked, and then their teammate, whether it's solo queue or Swift, will loop around the hook, and then they'll call you a camper. And it's just like, think about it from the other side. Like, what what is the killer supposed to do? Is he just not supposed to chase that survivor? Like, I find a lot of people just either play one side and have no concept on how the other side's played, or they just don't have much game sense or something like that.
I think
and they're
a
the
lot of people
that
choose to not care about what the other side.
Yeah, agreed. There is
even
a
if they
portion of
play
that.
the other side, a lot of people just say, well, that person is directly, like, directly ruining my fun because my teammate might be living around the hook, but the killer is not just going away and letting them unhook for free. So I know that that's the wrong play, and the killer should be doing exactly what they're doing, but I don't care, and it's still annoying, and that's fine. You're allowed to be annoyed by that, but it all contributes to. If that happens 10 games in a row, man, that is taxing. Like, that is hard to play 10 games in a row. And I said this to you as well, like, before we started recording. If you're someone that doesn't stream this game, if you're someone that just works a full 10 hour, 8 hour day and comes home and you go, I got time for 5 games, and 5 games in a row that you have that exact same thing happen, yeah, you can say, like, get better at the game, or, just don't get caught, or just play the other side. But yeah, exactly. But maybe you play the other side and then you get a team that's really good, and then they just run you in circles and you can't do anything either way. And it is one of those things where it's like, well, maybe Dead by Daylight is not your game, but you still want to play it and you still want to have fun. So it's a really tough spot that people find themselves in sometimes. Because I think there's probably people out there that burn out on the game that don't stream and that, like, just, and we don't see that side. We only see the loudest majority, because the loudest majority are the people that are playing the game for 6, 10, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. And they're always going to be the loudest people.
Well, yeah, agreed. I think that there's a few things you can take from that. I think it's okay to be angry with how someone played the game, right? If you get tunneled out or camped or slugged or whatever, or or you go against a team that's just genuinely better than you. I think it's okay to be frustrated at that. What I don't think's okay, and I will never stand, is going after them, personal attacks. I don't give a fuck what it is. Like, I don't care. You do not go into their chat. You don't go into their YouTube, whatever the fuck it is, endgame chat. You do not go after them. I cannot comprehend personal attacks over a video game. It blows my mind, man. Absolutely blows my mind that that's like their approach. That's never okay to me. I can't stand it.
I'm completely on the same side of that. Because again, when we're talking about burnout to do with the game, mentally, it takes a toll on you. Even if, as I said, you're not someone that streams, like, Steam profiles are a thing. Like, I've seen on people's Steam profiles, and I've read some pretty horrible things on people's Steam profiles, and these people are just people that these people just play the game.
Yeah.
And, as much as that's just words on a screen, turn the screen off, cyberbullying is gone. Like, it's still a thing that if you, for some reason, go onto your Steam profile and you read through that stuff or you see it, it will take a toll on you, and it will make you not want to play
Agreed.
that game, or, potentially, has worse consequences. But yeah, that's one thing that I am definitely in agreement, like 100, I agree with you for pretty much everything, but that's a big thing about just taking it that extra step further. One thing I try and say is put yourself in people's, as much as I think there are people out there that are incapable of doing this, you just have to put yourself in someone else's spot, in someone else's shoes. Just for a second have to say, and it doesn't even have to be, this is the thing that people think, well, I've put myself in their shoes for the game. It's like, you don't have to do it for the game, but think about someone's real life.
There's someone behind that character.
Player. You don't know what kind of day that person's had, and you might not care, and we're never going to change those people. Like, those people will just be who they are forever. But there is someone behind that, and you are actively potentially affecting someone's day that is just trying to have a good time. And that for me, yeah, I can't excuse, like, there's no excuse for me that you can give to me to be like, oh, but it was I will just be like, I don't care. Like, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. I guess the caveat to that is there's no repercussions. There's no repercussions to being an absolute flog on the internet. Oh, he blocked me. Oh, he banned me. Big fucking deal. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's because there is no repercussions. That's why they do it. Like I said, I get the whole getting frustrated. I get frustrated at games. You know, I think that's normal. Because a lot of people use gaming as like a coping mechanism, whether you've had a bad day at work, you get online, you want to chill with your friends, or you want to just play games that you find relaxing.
Exactly.
But yeah, the personal attacks, nah.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's all you can really say. Is just no. It's not. It shouldn't be accepted, and it's not something that it's something a lot of people don't accept. And the more that you've seen these, you mentioned it before, like, you know, especially on Twitch, like hate raid things are coming through now for different types of communities, and if people are starting to realize that, you know, there is so much targeted hate out there, and whether it's for a certain community of people or whether it's just for one person for how they play a certain way or do this, like, it just, as much as you can hate that person with every fiber in your being, but like it says more about you than it says about them if you want to go and like go for a personal attack on that person. Like, there's nothing you can hate. I don't care if you hate every person in the world. You can hate me, you can hate Fanel, you can hate whoever you want, but like, just taking it that one step further, it makes it tough to play the 4v1 game like this. And you know, I was talking about perks on stream the other day, and we were talking about map offerings, and someone said, can you tell me why map offerings are thought of to be like taboo in DBD? And I said, look, personally myself, I don't care about map offerings, because it's annoying sometimes when a killer is like already good and then they're giving themselves an even better chance to win the game.
Yeah.
But survivors do it too, like, you know, take themselves to Ormond or something like that when they're like full team and they know that they're already probably going to do well. But I also was like, the thing why people say, like, because I've heard some people, both killers and survivors, say that the map offering should leave the game, and I wouldn't care either way if they stayed or if they didn't go. But you've got to remember, and this is like lining up with what we're saying, is you don't know how many times that person has faced the map offering. So that person might be their first game of the day and it's a map offering, fine. But again,
might have had 3, 4, 5 games in a row
with the same map offering, and of course that's going to be frustrating. Of course, no, it is annoying when you get it 10 games in a row. But like, as a thing standing by itself, I don't think it should be thought of like, you know, as taboo or anything like that. So it was just an interesting concept, because it goes back to just putting yourself on that other side and being like, well, you know, maybe this isn't just their first game that they've experienced it.
They've had a few bad games and stuff like that. I mean, Matt, see, the thing is, Killer's a little bit differently, because some builds are better on certain maps. Stealth builds, right? You want an indoor map. You know, not that there's any more scratch mirror eyes, but things like that. You know, you don't want that on a big open map. Like, you don't want that on a farm map or anything like that. And obviously, certain killers, you know, want particular maps. I think where map offerings come into play is when you get sent to maps that like just genuinely no one likes. Haddonfield, Ormond, off the top of my head, or a swamp map. Like, as a killer, I don't want to play this shit. I don't want to play.
As a survivor, I don't really want to play that stuff sometimes as well. So
I mean, I'm more than happy, because I'm more than happy to run the roulette with maps. It doesn't bother me. Obviously, I prefer some maps over others. You know, but yeah, if you're bringing like Haddonfield offerings and shit like that, no thanks. Hard pass. I don't want to play that map. You know, RPG stuff like that. No one wants to play this shit.
Exactly. And you know, obviously I stream and have stream loots and stuff. And sometimes someone plays a stream loots card and is like, I want you to bring that sweet RPD, baby. And it's just like, oh gosh, now I know that if I bring RPD and my team doesn't do well, or if I'm a killer and I bring it and like I'm playing a killer that does well on that map, I know I'm gonna get. I know that I'm gonna get flamed.
Yeah,
because I've brought the map offering, but
you're that guy.
That's fine. It's just exactly. But that's just that's not. It's not like it's just a fun thing. But again, that leads back to where there are certain types of people that instead of just being like suck for bringing the map offering, like sure I can deal with that. It turns into this whole. I remember when you brought that map offering 2 months ago.
I was about to say DBD community. I don't know whether it's just only OCE or that. I've found compared to other games that I've played, they don't forget. They're like elephants with stuff. They'll be like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. 3 weeks ago you slugged me for 10 seconds longer than normal or some shit. Now I'm gonna bleed you out, right? And then it just creeps the cycle.
It was 4:30 p.m.
Yeah,
and the wind was blowing at a southerly 17-degree direction. Like,
but yeah, again, I think it just goes back to play the game how you want and what you enjoy.
I think that does help with actually does help with the burnout as well, because I've been enjoying DBD a bit more. Like like people know in the community, and like everyone knows that I have a certain build that I love running, and I run it on pretty much every single survivor, and it's a build that helps me, and it's a build that helps my team, and people look at it and go, it's he's using this perk, whatever. I ran a completely different build the other day, and I played completely differently. Like I was running like a Sabo build with like breakout, but I also had like empathy and a flashlight, so I was literally just like complete, and I think I had borrowed time, so I was running like a complete altruism build.
Yeah.
And I was just doing no gens, and I was just running after every single injured person, and trying to just help out injured people with flashlights and sabos and all that kind of stuff. And I had a lot of fun. But I don't have a problem with helping my team out in a certain. If I'm the one in chase for a 5, 3, 4, 5 gens, that means the rest of my team is also like sitting there doing essentially nothing. So I've almost got to the point where I will just go down on purpose, because it means I get hooked. It means the killer goes to someone else.
Yeah,
maybe someone else gets a chase, because I think everyone should be able to have fun in the game and enjoy it. So get to a certain point where you can just be like, all right, well, I could probably keep this chase going, but I'll just end it. Even when I played killer, like I had a killer game the other day, and I was destroying these people that were obviously not as good as
your
survivors as I was killer, and I had them like pretty much end the game, and I let them all. I literally walked to the corner of the map, let them fully reset.
Yeah,
and then basically started the match like it was new. The match still ended really quickly, but they at the end of the game they were like, "Oh yeah, thanks. That was a bit of fun to just like, continue the game."
Yeah, especially when sometimes they're waiting like 10 or 15 minutes. So it depends on what time of the day. Like you're waiting 10 or 15 minutes for a 2-minute game. Like they don't want to do that stuff. You know what I mean? That's not fun for anyone. But yeah, I guess it depends on either side.
Is there anything, I guess, that is there anything? This is a question whenever we talk about issues with Dead by Daylight that the community or just about the game in general, I always ask or try and like pose a question: is there anything that the actual developers can do, or the people that make the game can do to, I guess, combat this kind of thing? As in like the burnout and the getting to the point where the game feels like not.
I think
stale, I guess, is a good word, but
I think that the DBD grind is phenomenal. I think that's a good thing, a good portion, not necessarily a good thing, a good portion of the game.
Yep.
So what are they, like 97 survivor perks or something now?
I think there's over 200 like total.
Yeah,
perks or
yeah. See,
something, like-
that's insane. So when you think at like level 50, I think most blood webs are about 50 to 70k blood points.
Yeah, and you only get two perks per
Yeah.
per level
Yeah.
50 blood web.
So I think it's something like 1.6 mil or something to go from to 50. Like, it's nuts. So I think that somehow lessening the grind. I've got some ideas on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear.
I think one of my biggest ideas is making add-ons and that recyclable, or you can dismantle them. For like, say, let's just start with half the blood points. I'm happy with a third, right? So
Yeah.
I've done some like basic maths, and you know, I want to try and put out some content on that soonish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you P350 someone all perked, you're looking like that's quite a lot of add-ons and stuff like that, right? So I think on my nurse, who is like all perked up to Nemesis,
Yep.
it was something like an extra 1.5 million blood points, based on just recycling like add-ons, items that you don't need. Because like you think your flashlight, everyone only uses batteries or the filament. You know, you won't see odd bulbs or anything like that. Med kits, not many people use maps. Keys are kind of useless now. I know that people do window text and stuff with them. But you've got mist offerings, you've got your oaks, you've got all this stuff in the game that like nobody's using, and it just kind of sits there and piles up. Why could you not dismantle it, recycle it for a portion of the blood points?
And the thing is, when we know they already have a system like this in place, because when you go into the shrine and you already have a perk and you buy it, it rewards you with like, you know, you spend your shards and it rewards you with blood points. So all they have to do, well, I say all they have to do, obviously I don't write code, so I don't know how hard or easy this is, but you know, they just have to make it so that if you instead of holding the right mouse button down on a perk, or not a perk, sorry, an add-on, if you hold the left mouse button down, or the other way around, if you hold it down for 2 seconds, it recycles that and then it adds 2,000 blood points.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
you know, whatever
Yeah, like there's obviously, you know,
code
the
is.
system, they'd have to implement a system and how to do it.
But I feel like that would be something that they could definitely do. And
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like that is recycling is a really good idea. Because you're right, I have so many
Just think of
oddballs
like
and
the stuff
so much
you don't
iridescent
use
stuff
on your
that
characters.
that's not good, that I don't want to use.
What I will say, so in order to stop you just stacking, say like blood points on a particular killer, like you just want, I don't know, Spirit Strongest add-ons or something like that, because like that's what people will do. They'll dismantle everything on everyone. Possibly just lock those blood points to that character. So say you dismantle all of, you know, Billy's add-ons that you don't do, or Jeff, or whatever survivor you play. You can only then, so it's like a sub currency for that character. So that
Okay.
might be, so because the thing is, with any system that you implement, there's always going to be people who find a way to, I'm going to say abuse it, or just like use it to their advantage, right? And
for
what
sure.
I would say is like, let's say I don't play Hag. I just dismantle literally everything she's got on her, and then I put all my blood points into Nurse, and
Into Billy.
I get 100. I'm a double recharge Nurse, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm stacking an already strong killer, and I feel like there will be people who do that. So I feel with my idea to combat that is to lock that currency to that survivor or that killer. That way you can't just stack one side.
But is that bad? Like, is that bad in my eyes? Like, if you want to play Nurse and like you want to use their add-ons, like,
Well, you got to think of people.
is it
So,
bad?
for example, there's quite people that have like everyone P350'd all perk. Just think of the amount of add-ons and items that they would have. You're talking, you know, millions of blood points that they can then stack on one killer. So, I don't know.
I think
That's
maybe
just
a
like
cap, maybe a cap would be.
yeah,
like a
so you can only
weekly cap or
do
something
X
would
amount a
be
week
better.
or something. Yeah, that's definitely an
Yeah.
idea or a way to
Just
combat
'cause-
it.
I feel like if you're a Nurse main and you want to run double recharge only, you're probably already going to have a bunch of double recharge. So if you already have 100, if you have 1,000, that makes no difference, because you're going to put all your points into Nurse anyway, and you're just going to keep recycling those, like that 100 anyway, right?
Yeah,
Maybe if you have like 5 and then you stack up, then it would be like, oh well, this person probably would have run out. But at the end of the day, we kind of have no idea what add-ons a person has anyway. So like I know a huntress that has like 2,000 add-ons of like every add-on.
Yeah. That's all they play, and they put all their blood points in. Yeah. It was just
the cat would.
Yeah, that's another way to do it. I just thought, that again, there's got to be a negative to it. You know, trying to just think of how you would abuse it or take advantage of it.
I definitely agree with that. I just think that it become like, I think DBD is like a game, despite what people might think, they do want to keep things as kind of as not as complicated as possible. Like as complicated as possible. That's the worst way of explaining that ever.
No.
But like they just want it to be simple. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Despite people will probably laugh at me and think like, simple. But you know,
I mean, coding wise, I couldn't imagine what that's like. I don't know anything about coding, so you know that's probably a nightmare in itself.
Like a sub like, you know, amount of blood points. People are going to be like, but where's the points for this killer? Or like, I just got a bunch of points. I think
probably harder to track and stuff.
Would be, so I don't know if you've ever seen the mobile app before. The mobile
mobile DVD. Yeah, I've seen it. I think I played it like when they first released and then just never really went back.
So they have a buy system, like a store system. So you don't do blood web. They don't do blood webs on the mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
They have a perk and add-on purchase system. So you get a store, and in that store, it'll have that you can choose whether you buy. Like all the add-ons aren't in there at the same time, so essentially it's like a different version of the blood web. But you can go, okay, I want this double recharge for nurse. I want the one that shows me where I blink to.
Yep.
And then I want this perk, and then you go, okay, there's nothing else there that I want. Refresh, and then you can refresh the store with new stuff, and then purchase it. So on the mobile app, I'm pretty sure you could just double recharge add-on, refresh the store. Another, or you know, recharge.
You want this? Yeah.
I want this recharge. So that could be something that they could do.
They could implement.
They said they are like looking at. Remember, I think in their latest Q&A or in the 5th anniversary, they said that they were looking at a new prestige system.
Yeah.
So who knows what that will be?
Yeah, I think like a second idea that is not to have a tier system to the perks. So instead of going tier 1, 2, 3, you just unlock it. It's there, and it's because now, like you were saying, there's over 200 perks. So let's say they get the next big license, the next big horror thing, like, you know, Stranger Things was huge for them, stuff like that. The increase of people that it would have had. Let's say they get the next big thing. I don't know, Candyman or whatever it is, you know, say whatever it is. They get Five Nights at Freddy. The amount of players that will then generate, you open up DBD and you've got to now collect 200 perks, or, you know, like 100 survivor perks, right? That's incredible. That is a lot of playtime. A lot of grinding, and that's like daunting, I think, as a new player to come in and be like, holy, like, I know you don't have to prestige, right? Take prestige out of it. You don't have to prestige at all. But even then, still getting all the perks on one character.
Well, essentially, if there's 100 survivor perks, you have to get 300 perks, because you have to get each one
to get all the teachables. Yep. So if you take away the tier system and just have it, you unlock adrenaline, you unlock sprint burst, or whatever it is, I think that will drastically cut down on the perceived grind. Because like we were saying, every time there's a new DLC, that the grind is now exponentially increased. And if you're making moves as a business, you always want new players coming in and stuff like that. You want new players, you want them buying their cosmetics and all this shit.
Exactly.
You've kind of got to lessen the grind
for them. So Like, you want to keep them in the game. So, I mean, how would you feel about if they changed the system? They would never do this, but you unlock a teachable, and it essentially unlocks on every single character, as in like it is unlocked and available for that person. So
a great idea, but is that not
the grind a lot?
It would. I would argue that's almost too strong. In terms of
there's not going to be enough for people to do.
Well, no, it's because some perks are just genuinely like a super strong combo. So let's say you do that on when Blight came out and it was old Ruin Undying.
Yeah.
That's nuts. The fact that you literally just unlock it on Blight and you just unlock it on every killer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I was saying, you've got to think
strong,
of the other side, right? I've seen some pretty crazy setups with the new artist perks. I've seen some disgusting setups.
Yeah, her perks are really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that sound idea good. I think in
Probably
practice a little bit too strong. That's just
Yeah,
my like the terms
agree.
of balance.
Yep, for sure. I definitely thought it was one of those. It was probably too much.
Yeah, because I would say that in the latest patch, the killer perks outweigh the survivor perks.
Yeah, I would agree with you 1,000%. Yeah, I only see one survivor perk potentially being used, but I mean, we can talk about the new killer and survivor if you've got some thoughts on it, because I haven't. As I said, I've been a little bit burnt out, so I haven't played as much as I normally would.
Yeah.
Like I normally would play on release night. I didn't even play on like release night. I waited for the next day. But yeah, Survivor is the Survivor has some okay perks.
Yeah.
Obviously a new boon, which
The new boon kind of strong against very particular killers.
such a niche, it's such a niche
It's a niche
the
setup,
killer,
but it's
so
still
many things have to line up.
Yeah.
Like, the killer has to not get rid of the boon. You have to be down in that area. Like there's just so
it requires
many,
a certain amount of
stars have to align,
strategy.
basically.
Yeah. It requires a certain amount of strategy. Like that comes. There's a lot of variables to that. The killer, the map. Some maps that you put it in the middle, you would cover such a strong area. Other maps, something like Midwich or the game, that would be quite strong on. Not very big maps, but 2 stories. But even against certain killers, like you think you down someone as the twins, you swap to Charlotte.
The one.
That's a good example. Infectious Fright on killers, Nurse, Oni, off Billy off the top of my head. They're the more common ones that you see.
You instantly go for someone else, and then that person starts.
There's no denying it's strong, but I still feel that Shadow Step and Circle of Healing are much, much stronger, more versatile than this the new Unbreakable one.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, the new boon that Jonah has is basically giving you the Unbreakable effect. If you have that perk equipped and a boon is lit and you're in that area, you can infinitely pick yourself up off the ground. Similar to Soul Guard when there's a hex totem active. You can just keep picking yourself up. It does. I do believe it does stack with. It was meant to, but it didn't in the PTB. But is it?
I think it was the other way around. So apparently, from what I could tell, it's stacked with Unbreakable and that, but it's not supposed to.
It's not meant to.
Okay. So that was my take from it, but I haven't been able to test that. Well, not that I haven't been able to. I haven't tried to test that on live.
Okay.
That is something that possibly did change. Unsure on.
But yeah, regardless, as you said, it is a strong. Like, if you put the perk in Solidarity, you read it. It's a strong perk, but in practice, it's very situational.
Yeah. I think it requires a lot of coordination to sort, and there's a fair amount of RNG to it in terms of maps and stuff like that.
It's all based on the killer just not picking someone up instantly. Yeah. Like a killer can, it's one of the perks that the killer can actually just negate instantly. Like it just hey, you have this, and as soon as the killer knows that you have it, or kind of like figures out that, hey, this person's pulled themselves up twice, they're just going to start picking people up.
Yeah.
And maybe that second time it changes. That's how DBD works. It could change the balance of the game. Maybe they run to a generator and they repair, like, you know, that little tiny bit that had left and they power the gates, or they pull themselves up at perfect time for like a flashlight save of a person that's right there. But the killers, I can tell you for this much, if the killer is decent and they see someone pull themselves up more than once, they're definitely going to assume.
Well, you can normally, from my experience, you can normally tell where a boon is. You hear a boon go off, right? As soon as you hit a survivor, 9 times out of 10, they just beeline for that totem.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got a good idea where that totem is, because from my experience, everyone just runs straight at it. You watch them get unhooked, they run straight at it.
They run straight to the boon.
You know, when he takes a hit, he wants to go straight at that boon so he can get picked up. You know, so that gives you a good idea. What else has he got? Overcome.
That's good. I thought about honestly replacing Dead Hard with Overcome.
Yeah.
As a change, because it would allow me, but I found that when I was using Overcome, the killers were just dropping Chase, and then I had a useless perk. While injured, I mean. So if I was staying injured, then I just had a useless perk. Whereas if I had Dead Hard equipped,
it would be a little bit better.
Chase me, and I'll actually waste their time by them chasing me rather than just leaving.
It is, what I will say with it, if you pair it with Lucky Break, it is disgusting. It is disgusting. The killer, there's like, so on very particular maps, like indoor maps, we'll say like a Larry's or something, that is so strong. That is super strong. So if you pair that like coordinated with Shadow Step and stuff like that, you're never getting found.
Overcome into Shadow Step is just so gross as well. Like,
so like there is some super strong possibilities with that. But again, like you said, you just take a hit and then you make distance. So it's kind of just like a stronger Lithe or a Sprint Burst. You're just getting that distance. You're a bit harder to to follow because you do make that extra distance.
I would say using Sprint Burst or Lithe is better because you remain fully healed, and you can still do it when you are injured. But I think Overcome's a good perk for people that don't want to be chased.
Yeah. Well, I think that it works well with the meta of creating distance. I feel a lot of the killers, probably since Blight, are... I think a lot of people agree. They're kind of anti-loop killers. So I feel like DBD's moving into this new era of holding W. And it's shit to go against. It's frustrating to go against. But if you want to survive, that's it. That's
hard to play another way, isn't it?
All these new killers just shut down loops, right? So I think that the days of constantly running around a pallet 15 times before, Bloodlust 3 and then you drop it is over. I think that the DBD meta has changed. That's obviously going to piss a lot of people off because looping is such a core element for so many people.
Well, it has been for such a long time as well, hasn't it? Like,
so you're either going to get the people who quit because of it, which I think you will see a portion, because it's no longer fun for them. They wanted to get chased, or you see the people who will adapt and sort of overcome per se. Unintentional,
no.
Unintentional. I swear. But yeah, you know what I mean? You kind of even adapt.
I just like kind of just wanted to click stop recording and walk away from my computer.
Big groan. A big groan.
Just I think DBD's like honestly getting back to that. I don't know if they're doing this intentionally or trying to, but it seems like it's almost getting back to that hide and seek kind of meta. It's not at the meta, but it could go the hide and seek way. From how it used to be I didn't play when it first came out, but I know that it used to be more of a hide and seek game before people realized that they could loop around pallets for 15 years and, use windows into pallets, into this, into that. It was more of the, people would complain, why does this person urban evade and, creep around the edge of the map? Because that used to work. Like, you used to be able to escape
It still
killers.
can work. Like, There are
Oh, definitely.
circumstances that it can work. It's just not as good anymore.
But the thing is, we're also that game was the game was fresh, and people like I can't say we because I didn't play it, but people were scared. People were scared of the killers. It was scary. The game was scary.
Well, it was all
because
new. People didn't know how to play. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many variables to that.
And I guarantee you now, a new player, that is why they creep around the edges of the map because it's scary. they're like scared that when they see the killer or they hear the heartbeat, they genuinely shit themselves. But for you or I, it's not fun for us really to hide.
That's not
around
how
the
I
edges of the
play.
map and play hide and seek and be like, oh, I hope it's fun to hide when the killer's right near you and like you're injured and make a noise and you're like hoping to get a flashy save, or you're just like, oh, I hope they don't see me because you're trying to pull off. You know, you're stealthily walking around a tree as the killer's walking around that same tree, and you're like avoiding their eye line just perfectly. Like that's fun. But not for
Yeah,
me,
like a
just
sort of a juke, not just full out hiding.
Yeah. Exactly. You're not exactly looping, but you're doing just enough to stay out of the area while they're looking around.
Yeah.
But you're not fully. I don't know. I think DBD could go the way
Yep.
with new players if they become scared enough and they see enough people playing like that. It could go back the way of that hide and seek, which would really just make
Well, you got to think,
killers
like, a
so
lot of the
fun.
perks allow you to hide now. Like we were saying, that shadow step turns you invisible in certain locations, you know, things like that. I think scratch marks sometimes just blend, or there's certain maps where I personally struggle to track people. Or like I just like sometimes I find scratch marks are a little bit iffy, like they don't always work how I think they should. But yeah, I definitely agree. A lot of the perks coming out are just about that creating distance, and I think that is the meta for DBD, whether we like it or not.
Because if you chuck on Overcome and you chuck on Iron Will and then put, Lucky Break on, you're only going to get one use of Lucky Break if you don't heal, but you essentially can go away and disappear and then crouch somewhere. And then
your killer spends, how much time looking for you, right? That's lost time pressuring gens. That's no hooks. That's you don't have your pop or anything else like that because you can't find them. Do you think we might see perks like Whispers come back? Spies of the Shadow is a little underrated, I think. Very particular on certain maps.
I know there's some people that swear like live by that perk, the Spies in the Shadows.
I think it's underrated, but it's
free information all the time.
Yeah, I think it's a very specific thing, but maybe more information.
I think
but
you could see Whispers come back and
also Nurses Calling. It hasn't been meta since 2019 sort of era. More information perks. Do you think that we might see more of them coming back?
I honestly it wouldn't upset me completely to see again. This is the good thing about that I loved or do love about the game is that every game is different. So I wouldn't be upset if I load into a game and it's a hide and seek game where everyone is trying to hide and you do a little bit of a gen here. You're trying to stay away from the killer. You're trying to be stealthy. But if you get in chase, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll get in chase and run around. But then I'll try and lose the killer instead of just chasing them. Instead of having them chase me for 5 gens, I'll try and actually, lose them and hide behind something so they lose me and they lose my scratch marks. And then maybe they go to a different person and then I sneak around. I wouldn't be mad if I had a game like that in every couple every 10 games or every however many games. Because I know that I'm going to have games where I am running around like crazy for a whole game. Where I am dying first hook and just having the shittest game ever.
I guess that breaks up the monotony of the same thing over and over again.
But like you said, the more people, the more new. If they get a big license and they get more new people coming into this game, and imagine if you had a full lobby of new people and then a killer that wasn't that great, and they were. The DBD is built on a reward system, so the reason that killers tunnel and camp and do all that stuff is because they win.
Yeah.
And they get rewarded for doing it. The reason that survivors bring brand new parts and bring toolboxes and everything is because they get the gens done and they win, so they do it.
Yeah.
So if
and
you
it's
have
in the
new
game.
people
So...
learn, yeah, exactly. But if you have new people learn to hide and crawl around the edges of the map and do that, and it works for them, they're not going to change. They're not going to stop doing that. But there's nothing wrong with that, and I think that the game has lost. It's just lost that whole like play any way you want. Like this is DBD. Like you can play this way. You can play this way. It's like no, you have to play this killer and survivor rulebook. You have to play within these guidelines, and if you don't play within these guidelines, you're not actually playing Dead by Daylight. You're playing a version that you think is the game, and that's wrong.
Yeah,
exactly all the stuff we talked about before. Have you? I haven't played I played a little bit of Survivor. I haven't played against the new killer a huge amount. Have you played against her?
No, I'd say 4, maybe 5 times.
What are your thoughts?
Again, just strong on shutting down loops. Whereas, like any other killer, if you found yourself at like one of those weaker tiles, she just shuts it down. Like if you get sort of caught in the corner at like an L wall, T wall, or something, you're gonna take a hit, whether you like or not. You're just gonna take a hit there.
I need to show you a clip after we finish recording this, because
definitely,
there's a clip that I have on Larry's, where you know those corner pallets on Larry's where it's got like the medical equipment. I think it's like medical beds are all like flipped over, and there's 2 ways out, and then there's a pallet. I had a survivor caught there, and they had the pallet thrown. So I was like, watch this. So I put one bird facing one way, one bird facing one way, and then one bird facing like
in the middle.
Through.
Yeah.
Middle. And I ran the other way. I forced her to jump the pallet, and I just let the bird go and just downed her because she was already injured. And I was like, there is literally nothing that she could have done there. Like, it was impossible.
And how often do you find yourself through just killer zoning being in that location? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. You can force them. You can force.
So yeah, like a killer with good game sense and good gameplay will zone you to an area where you take a hit.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually found myself on the edges of maps more often than I've ever been in the last, in my whole entire time of playing Dead by Daylight. I've found that I've been on the edges of the maps way more playing against her than any other killer. Like, I've been running to, because I'm trying to avoid the birds and, as you said, the zoning.
Yeah,
I'm trying to avoid everything, and I'm trying to concentrate. And then I realize, and I look up,
and you just edge of mapping.
Z-wall.
I'm
on the edge of the map. It's fine because it's an infinite Z-wall, but where am I? I'm not near any normal loops or anything like that. And that's just the power that she has, because the threat of the birds is sometimes just more powerful than the birds themselves.
Yes, exactly right. I like that they made the change of the stationary burns won't damage you. You used to lose a health state if you walked through them or ran through them.
If you run into them, they did change that,
didn't they? Yeah, they did change that from the PTB.
Okay, I wondered because I feel like the wording on the patch notes was a bit weird, so I didn't really understand.
So what used to do is you just put it down in the loop, and if you ran through that crow, you would take a health state or you take damage, right?
Yeah.
So they changed that because that was obviously quite strong.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's actually
that's a good change. I think that there's nobody who's really been like, oh, that was a bad change. Fuck you behavior sort of thing.
Yeah.
No one's really thought that. Yeah. But also, people have to understand that she's brand new, so there's always a lot of people that don't play the PTB. I tend not to play the PTB because I know a lot changes between the PTB and live. So you always get people that don't play it, so they don't know how to play against her, or the optimal way to play against her. So you kind of have to learn that, and that takes time. But you've also got to look at okay, so recent patch, they nerfed Pinhead. They're like, okay, Pinhead's overperforming, so his top 5 strongest add-ons got nerfed. So the same thing will happen to her. They will be like, okay, she's either underperforming or overperforming.
Yeah, exactly.
So they are always balancing the game. Do they do it as fast as we want? Probably not. But in order to make those changes, they have to test it. Is this new change too strong? Is this new change not enough? Did this new change break something in the game? Is the game still going to function the base way that it should? There's a lot of variables to it, and I find that most people just kind of get into the habit of just shitting on behavior, or not just. This is just gaming in general. Like, I find it super easy to just concentrate on all the negativity that the developer's doing without being like, okay, they're trying or whatnot, because they definitely do things better. Yeah, sometimes their communication is severely lacking, i.e. the NFT stuff. Stuff like that. The communication behind that was not very good.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I don't know if you heard the podcast that I did with Kyle, but we spent a good chunk of that. Like, that was one of the topics we talked about.
Yeah.
Was the treatment of the devs and behavior, and the pitchfork mentality, just too much negativity of just jumping on the train of being like, well, everyone else hates it, so I hate it too. I'm not going to give it a chance.
I think that they definitely deserve flack, right? That they're not doing things perfect, but like, no one's perfect.
That's definitely what we said too.
I also
like excuse. But
I also think that there's a big difference between genuine constructive criticism and just flat out negativity, right? And I think a lot of people get caught up in that whole just like flat out negativity.
The entitlement. It's the entitlement that I think they have, so they can just give criticism in whatever terrible way they want, and I think that it's going to be constructive, and it's really not.
I mean, some of the ideas people have are really good, and some of the ideas or changes that people want are fucking outrageous. Like, the people that want extra gens for Swifts and that, I'm like,
oh my God.
Like, what makes you think that that's good for the game? Yeah.
Come on. And there are people that have really good ideas as well, but they will be like...
But they get drowned out by all these other people.
But they won't say it in a good way. That's the thing.
Also
say,
true.
Like, they've got a really
the delivery
idea,
of it.
And they'll deliver it, in a way that's like, dude, you're an asshole. Like, why would they listen to you?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that is it is like interesting that you obviously it seems like you tend to agree with what Kyle and I were mentioning last week. Like, there's definitely no excuses for certain things, and the communication from behavior definitely is lacking in certain areas. But the one thing that we agreed on was that they never stop trying to add new things and change the game. And that's one thing I've always been in their corner for, is that they try.
I mean, a key thing is, so everyone's been asking for so long, for as long as I can remember, to have another objective in the game other than doing gens, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's always wanted that. Well, we have that now in boons, right? What, it's like 16 seconds, 24 on a hex. That's another objective. So people are...
We've got Pinhead's box as well.
Yeah. So you're getting things like this. Is it the right move? I'm not sure. In terms of game balance, it's definitely tipped it again. I think it's the game is survivor-sided.
Yep.
Overall. And this just tips it further that way.
But now you've got people the same thing that I've heard people say, like, oh, why do boons take so long? Or like, now people don't like the fact that they have to go and get Pinhead's box because they have to get off gens, or they can't go and save their teammate.
Yeah.
So they can't win. Like, they can't.
No, not at all. Like,
but
what other objectives? Yeah. You're better off trying to go for the majority, not the minority.
But try and fail. Like, they try and fail. Like,
but they do. Fine. That's what. So they did the no blood last weekend. So they were trying it, and they make small changes and be like, okay, does this work? Does this not work? The no like I just said, like, that was good. No blood loss, no blood loss. So they're like, okay, is this a mechanic in the game that's still needed? For some people, it is, yes, because they're just genuinely not good at the killer or the looping or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, look, everyone, you can shit on behavior and DBD as much as you want, but everyone's still playing it. Everyone's still putting 60, 70 hours in a week,
There's a lot of, I guess, hypocritical people. I mean, I definitely probably was one of those at one stage. I try to be a lot more open-minded these days. But yeah, I know quite a lot of people who will regularly just shit on DBD, but you're still playing it, man. So, you know, it can't be that bad, right?
Yeah, and it comes down to, like, is it that bad, or is there just nothing else that hits that spot for you?
Probably a bit of both.
You just keep going with that. So, that's the thing that, as I said, I've always been in their corner for, because they try, and if they fail, it's a game. You can patch it. You can update it. You can change it. It's not like it's a final release game on PS1 where the game comes out and then the game and you can never change it ever again.
Yeah.
Like, it's an ever growing and ever shifting game, and you take a risk, and maybe the bird lady is too strong, and they will look at her and they will do their 2-week diagnosis and say, okay, this is too strong. We're going to make it that she only has 2 birds, or she only has this happen, or whatever. The timer is shorter, and maybe people will be happy, maybe they won't. But regardless, her perks are really strong. That's what we were mentioning before.
Yeah.
Well.
I get sidetracked quite easily because I like to talk.
No. The Scourge Hook one is if you can find a Scourge Hook, it's disgustingly good. Getting that pop value and information if someone's, essentially pop value, and then finding out if someone's on a generator. I can't tell you how many times in playing her, in the little time that I've played against her, I've been 90%, 95% on a gen, just being like, all right, I'll just finish this one off, and then I'll go save the survivor that's about to get hooked. And then boom, she hooks someone on a Scourge Hook. I lose the progress. They make it over before I can finish it, and then if they have pop as well, they pop it, and then your gen's back down to 50%.
Yeah.
Her other one is the Grim Embrace one I've seen a couple times when everyone gets hooked and it blocks all the gens.
It's good if you want to confirm a stage. So because it blocks the gens for so long,
you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, you can just proxy the hook.
Yeah.
You can literally just confirm a stage. So you get. I think that's just genuinely giving the killer a free free hook stage. Possibly a death, depending on how they play it. You don't have to play it that way, but I feel like that's the optimal way to play that.
Yeah, because your only objective at that point, there's no generator.
Well, because you've got to hook. Yeah. Well, you've got to hook all 4 survivors, and then the gens are blocked for 40 seconds, right? That's crazy.
Yeah. I wondered whether it would be a good enough or allowed in comp, but I kind of was thinking that a lot of the time teams will be trying to actively avoid you from hooking.
Yeah, I think
anyway, because of the way that points work, so it probably wouldn't come in handy that much.
It wouldn't be that good because the way the point system works, you're better off just confirming a survivor because you get extra points.
Yeah, than going for
So you get points for a hawk, and then you get points for forcing that survivor. Well, at least in OCE region. Other regions might do different points, but with our point system, you get that extra point for forcing a stage. So
I would be interested to see if they let it. Because I know they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna let boons be a part of.
Fuck no.
Competitive, but it would be very interesting to see if they actually let the Grim Embrace perk be a part of comp. And
I think you're better off.
I think killers would run around with would
Scourge Hook, right?
Least. Yeah. Scourge Hook could become.
Yeah, I think comp games. No, I honestly I've never played, but from watching and that, I just don't think there's so many better L's. Like Deadlock, for example, way better. A million times better. No Way Out, things like that. On top of your pop, ruin, your not necessarily barbecue. I think there's so many better perks. Maybe for a variety.
Get taken away for the Scourge Hook one.
No, because you got not as much pressure. Do you know what I mean? So ruin is constantly pressuring until
it's gone.
Yeah, until it's gone. Whereas Scourge Hook, you have to. So, like, let's say, I don't know, you get McMillan or something, and all 4 Scourge Hooks are on one side, and the survivors just don't sit on that side. Do you know what I mean? Then you essentially get no value for that perk.
True. Yeah.
So map dependency, stuff like that.
What about the Hex Pentimento one?
So
what's your thoughts?
It sounds in theory kind of weak. Like it's kind of I've had a few builds like that I've gone against where it's disgusting.
It's broken if you can get it to work properly.
If you can get it to work, yeah. So the way I've seen it be used the most is they send you to a map that has, you know, the totem spots aren't very easy to find. So, for example, I had it on Midwich.
Yeah.
So the totems are a bit bad, but then you use it with like Hex Plaything, Ruin, things like this. So like use it with Hex perks. Even Retribution would be amazing because it gives you information. So every time a Hex goes, like you know exactly where it is because it tells you a little notification. You just go there and you revive it, and then they then have to spend that time again to revive it. So with perks maybe like Undying, any of the Hex perks really.
The one build that I had in mind was using Pentimento, Thrill of the Hunt, and Plaything, and then basically because you know I've yet to see the 5 totem like the lockup where you get all 5 things yet. But I could see a time where a killer knows that all 5 totems have been destroyed, and then
revives them
around, and goes totem to totem, 5 totems in a row. Because I feel like by the time you do one, usually the survivors, if they know you have that perk, like if you've already done one,
it's because it's so strong.
Active,
the first one is
just go there instantly.
Yeah. Because it's so strong. The first one is 30% on a gen. So the gens all slow down 30%. So like it's honestly not worth waiting that out. It's honestly just worth like going to find it. And because if you've already kind of gotten rid of a totem, you've got a pretty good idea of where they are. And I think because also survivors are using boons, right? So they're not also like we're not cleansing totems like we used to.
Exactly. People got I've seen some survivors get angry at other survivors being like, why are you cleansing totems? It's like, well, no, it is still a perk. Like there is still perks.
So I normally
inner strength or inner healing is still a perk. People still want to heal themselves with it.
Because like I normally run detectives because I used to run it with inner strength or inner healing now, but it is always so I could learn the totem location. So I've got a pretty good idea on most of the maps, roughly where the totems are. And it's just like, I will cleanse, like, say if we do 2 gens in one corner, I'm going to cleanse that totem.
Because you don't need to be there.
Because, like, we don't really need to be there. Yes, it would probably be nice to have a boon and just run to that area, but it's always, like, just in case. And then it's obviously because, you know, with MMR, you're running into a lot more slowdown. Killers have a lot more slowdowns. That's just sort of how it goes. So, I think Scourge Hook's really good. I kind of like that it doesn't stack with the other Scourge Hooks. Because then that would be 8. Yeah. That would be, I feel like, a little bit too strong. And then obviously Pentimento, very situational, very map dependent, and also very like survivor dependent in terms of the team.
Yeah, I think if you could get 5 totems broken, and maybe if you had 2 lit up at the same time, and then you went for like you powered out the last 3 and just like went and lit them up all at the same time to get the block. That's why I would bring Thrill, obviously, because if they try and cleanse it, it takes longer for them to cleanse. Maybe you can push them off the totem. But once they know where the totem is, they're going to keep going back there. And if they keep going back there, you're probably going to end up getting hooks. And then you're potentially going to end up, you know, snowballing the game just from that. And then you don't end up getting the 5 effect. So, like, I just think getting 5 totems is very, very hard. It's going to be very rare.
Yeah. It's kind of like,
it's a win more, I called it when I first looked at it. Like, you're already going to be winning. If you're able to get 5 totems up, you've probably already won. Like, you're probably all going to be winning.
I think that it's kind of like Devour Hope. Like it's you know, you're not always going to get them and whatnot. So, you know, very situated. And once survivors figure it out, they'll just concentrate on totems.
True, exactly.
But I think it's very good at holding the mid game, not hostage, but like slowing it down. You know, you get one, maybe two up, and then the survivors then have to go look for it. You're slowing the gens down, you're slowing the healing down. I'm pretty sure it was the second one. I could be wrong. So it's a very good mid game stall, at least in my opinion.
And I do feel like it's one where survivors haven't got it in there. You know, when a person's running Ruin and Pop and they're like, oh, you know, so many slowdowns.
Yeah.
I feel like Pentimento, you touch a gen and you realize that it's 30% slower. It's not something that I've run into where someone's like, oh, they've got Pentimento, like, this is so annoying, like, still running slowdowns, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're just like, okay, we've got to go find the totem.
Yeah, I think if you run into like a full hex build and stuff where it takes full advantage of it, it can be, you know, quite frustrating, most likely to go against.
But killers have got to have fun too, don't they?
Yeah,
So
agreed.
It honestly, I think she's a cool release. Aesthetically, she's really cool. She looks amazing. Her new map is pretty cool. It's a bit recycled with some of the loops and tiles, but there's some new added tiles in there that just like a jungle gym with like no window, which are kind of just pointless because they're just a maze with a pallet. But yeah, it's a cool looking map, and she's a cool looking killer. She's got that one of her new skins. She looks like Skarmory from Pokemon.
Yeah, I was gonna say the skin, the ice one, is very.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I quite like it. Not that I plan on playing a lot of her, but it's a very nice skin.
Yeah, she looks awesome. And she plays pretty strong. If you get good at her, you're going to clean up people with her. However, I have played her, and for survivors that do know how to play against her, if they're a good team and they're doing gens and they're like, you know, efficiently,
yep,
they will beat you because you can zone, but you can do all the zoning you want, but a good survivor can still somewhat control the chase and still go where they want to go, and just be like, you've got to hit your birds perfectly, otherwise I'm gonna continue to loop you.
Yeah. And and again, it takes time for survivors to adapt in the mind games and stuff like that, and learn how to play against them.
Yeah, fun, like, you know, fun to have a new killer in the game, a new survivor, and, you know, hopefully that grind will be looked at some point. But yeah, I did want to. There's something that I've never done on the podcast before. It's going into like we're in Christmas period. It's December. You know, life is usually on the. There's usually a bit of an upwards look at this time of the year because everyone's getting festive and having a good time. So I know that on the podcast we can be a bit serious and kind of talking about a lot of serious issues and everything.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fun to do a little like radio style game where I've sent you some sounds, or I've sent Fanel some sounds that are from Dead by Daylight. And basically, I'm going to edit these in so you guys can hear them while listening. But I'm just going to get Fanel to listen to one sound at a time and just try and guess the sound. And if it's a fun time, then maybe this is something that I can start doing.
You can add in the future, yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I've given you 6 sounds. I believe the 6 sounds are sounds that come from perks, or I think they're all sounds that come from perks or the environment.
In the environment? Okay.
In the game, yeah.
All right.
I haven't slowed them down or sped them up or reversed them or anything like that. Not this time anyway. So this will you'll probably get them, but yeah.
You never know. I feel like, yeah, probably with a lot of sounds, because we do play so much DBD, you kind of just, I guess, zone them out, or you're so used to them that there's probably a few that'll throw you off.
Now, I do have to remember in what order I gave them to you, because I didn't write it down like an absolute idiot. But as I said, if you don't guess them, then I'll rack my brains and try and remember which ones it was.
I'll
listen to the first one, and then I'm
going to open
let me know what you think it is. Yeah.
I think the first one. I'm gonna play this back. Hang on.
Yeah, that's all good.
The first one is the trial starting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sound, the scream. Everyone on the podcast would have heard the sound at this point. But yeah, the lobby sound when it gets to that 5 seconds and it does a scream.
Yeah. Okay.
That is 1 point for you. Yes, that's right.
That's... I was like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, see, I made it obvious to try and confuse you.
Hang on, let me check. Is this? Hang on.
They were tripping him up.
Looks like it's like in a whirlwind. Is this? Okay. I don't know. Is this?
I'm gonna have to listen to it.
Yeah, listen to this. Is this Spirit? I don't play a lot of Spirit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember this one.
Oh, hang on. It's like a whirlwind.
So this is. I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
This is something that is used in the game.
Oh, is this a map? Is this a map searching?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah. That,
I
okay. I was like,
as soon as I say it's used, you're gonna be like,
yeah. Okay. I was like, is this a spirit phase noise? I was like, I don't play spirits. I don't know. Okay. All right.
You see what I mean by like how creepy they are without the game?
Without like everything else, you know? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's try number 3. Let's see. I needed help on that last one. Oh, I know that because I used it recently. It's is that fast track? No. Yeah. The skill check one, the Yunjin perk. That's that sound? It's either that or like the blast mine sound.
No, it's neither of those.
Flashbang?
It's not that either.
What?
It's you're on like this. You are on the right track. Wow, I was gonna made a pun there, but you're on the right track for
BNP?
Like,
a BNP?
No, it's not that.
Okay.
It's a survivor perk, and it's when it activates when you've used it. So it's along the lines of like blast mine, that kind of thing.
What is fast?
It's a really, really like no one uses this perk.
It's the Yunjin one, right? It's not fast track. What's the other one called?
No, fast track is the Yunjin one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's not that.
The survivor perk. Not a lot of people use it. It's not inner strength or whatever it is now. Hang on. Let me listen to this again. Not a BNP.
I can give you another hint.
Yeah, send it.
If you want. It's to do with lockers.
To do with lockers. Is this... No.
I feel like it's click now.
It's not the sound for when head-on's available.
No.
Something to do with lockers. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's why I'm just like racking my brain for things. I'm actually like stumped. I thought for sure it was fast track. Something to do with lockers. Is this deception? No, that's a different noise.
It's to do with lockers and gems.
Oh, it's red herring.
Yeah.
Okay. I needed so much help with that one. Dude, I've
never heard that noise before.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. I don't see anyone running that. Okay, so I'm like 1 from 3 essentially. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We'll give you the second one. That one you need a lot of help.
Yeah. Well, that's very similar to a lot of other sounds. Okay. All right, let's go number 4. Oh, Lord. That is a loud skill check.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's very loud.
That surprised me. That was quite loud for me. Okay.
It's so much louder than all the other sounds.
That's obviously a skill check. All right.
Yeah.
What's that for?
But what kind of skill check panel?
Is it a particular one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's different types of skill checks, remember?
Is that a grate? Is that what we're just doing?
It's
Is
a
that?
grate. It's a
Yeah,
grate.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
grate.
Is that extra noise when you're like, "Yay, I did it"?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did the thing.
All right, what's the next one? That's searching a locker, a chest. Sorry, searching a chest. Right?
No, that is not searching.
Not searching a chest. No way. All right, let me listen to this again. It's opening a gate. I didn't listen to it for long enough. It's opening a gate. Yeah. I only listened to the first part. And I was like, I know this.
It's opening. So it's opening the first part of the gate.
The first.
Is what the sound said. Yeah.
There we go.
I love that it got you though. I love that you're like chest. Yes.
I was like, I instantly was like, yeah, this is a chest. But I listened to like the next part. That's 5, right?
Yeah. There's 6, so I reckon you'll get the last one.
All right, let me have a list. Ooh.
It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that the
Like a holy sound to it.
Is that the new artist sound? With the birds?
No, this is a perk as well.
What is this? Is this built to last?
No, but that's a good guess because that's actually quite almost similar to this.
I swear I need to run more perks. It's not built to last. Is that like blast mine being available?
No, it's not that. No.
Flashbang? No, it's not that.
I'll say is it's a perk that you don't see very often, but it can come in very clutch.
Perk you don't see very often that comes in very clutch. It's definitely not adrenaline.
Adrenaline should have Mario going Yahoo! Every time it activates.
True. It's a perk you don't see very often. It's obviously like an activating sound.
Yeah. It is one you have to activate.
Activating sound. No, I'm stumped, hey.
You wouldn't hear the sound very often because normally the person's making a lot of noise when you use the perk.
It's using a lot of noise.
So like their cries might.
Is this like
mask the sound.
bite the bullet or something? No.
No, you would be making no noise if you were.
Well, yeah,
using
true, because you're
bite bullet.
healing. Okay. I don't know. I'm like listening
Okay.
to it.
It's it comes from the same person that has the red herring perk. If you know who that is.
What is it's Elodie, right? But what so she's got deception.
I don't think Elodie has the red herring, no.
No, she doesn't. Fuck, I am so lost. You've like put me on the spot. Red herring.
Okay, so
No, I'm lost.
this is going to give it away. But some people think this perk is broken.
I play DBD, I swear. Red herring.
But okay, don't think about red herring anymore. Think about the noise. It might leave you a little broken. Say that.
Is this for the people?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay. Now I was like, jeez, I was having it so Zarina. Yeah, okay. Is that the noise it makes?
I think red herring is Zarina's perk. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it is. I'd have to look. Holy crap. Look, I
But
played
yeah,
Jeff.
that
Don't
is the
judge me.
sound.
That's the noise it makes.
That is the sound that.
I can't even tell you the last time I seen For the People.
See, I don't see it like it. I don't see it like. I see it pretty often. Not often enough to say like anywhere near meta, but I feel like I see at least one person running it every time I have a session of playing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I never
really
see
heard
it.
that noise. It's like a holy sound. Like
Yeah.
So it makes sense the noise, but yeah, I had a feeling that it might stump you. So
No, definitely.
maybe that was
Holy
too
hell.
hard. I don't know.
No, not. It's kind of like when you get put on the spot and all of a sudden you're just like Yeah. That's kind of what I was like just then.
Look, you were the guinea pig, the trial.
Happy to do it.
To see. So, I feel like the fun part of it is I will definitely like I wanted to do like doctor laughing, but I was gonna reverse it.
Yeah,
and, like, see if it's still like see if you could still guess it. So I'm definitely. I think you did well still, considering you still managed to get them all, even with a few.
Yeah, a little bit of hints and stuff.
Yeah, that's just a little couple of sounds that we have. I don't have a name for a segment or anything like that, but
we'll have to come up with one.
Yeah, I will have to come up with one. But yeah, thanks for doing that.
No, anytime, man.
I think that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. It kind of like you said, added that little bit of element and stuff.
Bit, right?
Yeah.
That brings us to the end of another great podcast. Thank you to everyone that made it all the way through. I do hope you liked the whole game show type thing that we did, as it was something that I've wanted to try out for a while. Please go and check out FanelMark on Twitch and YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Make sure to come follow me on Twitch if you want to chat, give some feedback, or just simply watch some gameplay. Until next time, may the fog treat you well, and don't get caught in the basement.